welcome to today's edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. It is Tuesday, the 21st of November. Hope everybody had an absolutely amazing trading day. First of all, for those of you that are new to the channel, thanks for joining us. We do the same thing each and every day on these videos. We look at the same 10 to 12 futures markets, and we identify potential trading opportunities. But the idea is that we don't want to really change the trades or the lines until we are in the video. That way you guys can see how trades evolve over time. So let's go ahead and get down into it. So I'm going to start with the S&P. Now, the S&P yesterday we had talked about a level, and I think we'd had the level marked off yesterday that just completely blew right through, right? Well, I guess it didn't quite blow right through. It stalled in there. It was this area right in here. We stalled in there, and yesterday we talked about how on the Twitter feed we had talked about moving the stop, and boom, popped right up away from that area. There was a bit of a level here that we may have seen a little bit of a slowing, but ultimately that is not going to be the case. I do like this area, though, which was acting as our resistance, this area right in here, which was acting as a prior resistance point, lining up with a possibility of some support. So if I take this down to a 15-minute time period, there could be a little bit of an opportunity to get long on a pullback into here. So I do see this as a potential long opportunity. If you are looking for a small time frame entry potential. So that 25.91.75 by 25.89 area. So you've got, what is that? Just about 3 points worth of risk on this fairly small level. Now, once again, the thing that we would like about this is that it is it's an area where the old resistance has become kind of the new support, if you will. It's a flip in the floor and ceiling conversation. Is kind of the way that I want to kind of characterize that. So now, what you could also do, though, based on what we have, for those of you that attended the webinar we did the other night, we talked about candle-to-candle trading. This is a situation where you may get candle-to-candle trading, and let me explain why. When we talk about candle-to-candle trading, remember, we're looking for a reversal at a high probability point. Now, this is certainly not a high probability point yet, but it is a little bit of, a pullback off of this area. I would call that, for those of you that are Fibonacci lovers, and I don't really dive too deep into fibs, but let me just show you this real quick. I bet you that is a 23.6 retracement based on where we are. Yep, sitting right at a 23.6 retracement, which on a smaller time period, you see how we have those two wicks overlapping one another, could indeed be a smaller, wrong setup, which indeed could be a smaller entry point. So let me go to a 15-minute chart and see. It's just that long upper wick here and then the lower one down there. So you could get a bit of a reversal here. I'm not going to mark it off. I don't believe in the level well enough to do that. But if you are looking for candle-to-candle trading, it might actually give you an opportunity here. Remember, on a candle-to-candle trading style, the other thing I like is that we've got lower wicks here, and those lower wicks indicate buying pressure. You'd want to get long before the next, you want to get long whenever I get a higher high, and your stop goes below the prior candle's low, and then you move it on each candle. So it's candle-to-candle style of trading. So there's our S&P. Nasdaq, once again, all-time highs. Now the Nasdaq, look at this total sideways price action versus the S&P, which has had a bit of a pullback. So the S&P has pulled back some off of its highs, whereas the Nasdaq is still basically at those highs without the pullback. So this tells me that the Nasdaq is outperforming the S&P. And on the S&P, if the S&P rallies, the Nasdaq could be a breakout long opportunity. So I'm gonna say that I'd much rather you buy the all-time high than sell it. And if you want to take a long on a breakout above this area, remember your stop goes below the prior pivot low. So your stop would be below this area here. Even if what I'd like to see is this come down a little bit from here and then head back up, and then you could put your stop a little bit lower. But this could be a decent breakout potential trade right from that level. So let's take a look at our crude oil. Crude, we have really not come into an area that we're willing to take any risk on any of these positions. There's really nothing in crude that's making me jump up and down. I'm not going to change my plan and force something because I feel like I'll miss out if I don't. I'm just not going to do that. And right now, if I'm getting in, that's what I feel like I'd be doing. So I'm going to let crude be. Gold has fallen off of our resistance area from here, still continuing to fall, although now we started to hit this basing and consolidation range. On a 15-minute time period, you will have this area here, which could serve as a little stalling point. So I'm going to put this in as a potential entry for a 15-minute style. So I'm going to put a purple line. Remember, the purple levels always have lower probabilities of success because it's found on a smaller time period. Doesn't mean we don't take them. We just take less risk on them. Now, in this area, a couple things about this that make it pretty effective. One of which is that it is, an area which has been a support area in the past. It also was formed right around the market open, and forming right around the market open tells me that there's probably a lot more volume in that price than not. Matter of fact, let me throw a quick study on here. Volume profile. Actually, I'm pretty surprised that there's not more volume on there. Looks like we got our most volume per price right down in here. I'm really surprised that there's not more price volume in here. I would have anticipated a little bit more price volume in there. So that actually gives me pause and a little bit of concern. So still a decent level, but doesn't have the same price volume I would have expected it to have. All right. Now remember, that is volume on price, not volume on time. So volume on price is very different than volume on time. Next is our bond markets. So taking a look at our 10-year Treasury note. So on the 10-year U.S. Treasury, we've got an area up here. I think that is going to become a valid entry point right through there. I think that's really the kind of the next valid entry point on the hourly chart that we might have. Let me change that color there. Okay, so that's a valid entry point on the 60-minute. I think it's going to be okay. The thing when I go to a daily chart is that I am getting weakening momentum on that downward move. If I throw in, and I'm not a big study guy, but I do like MACD because it's very quick to see momentum. Though I have a lower swing high in, price. So notice this. Swing high, swing high. I've got 3 consecutive lower swing highs in price. But in the MACD, I've got higher swing highs. So having higher swing highs in price and lower swing highs in price and higher swing highs in the MACDs tells me that my downward momentum is indeed slowing. So this is a very small risk position. We've got a very, very tiny little level here. So we're not really stepping out on a limb on this one, but just keep that one in mind, kind of going forward. Next, the Aussie. We did not get our breakout short on the Aussie. Did not quite reach the level. Prices come back up and hit that area that we had moved our stop down to after the breakout back here. So I'm going to get rid of this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to leave that on. I'm going to leave that one on. There's really no reversal levels I'm in love with, so just breakout levels remaining in the Aussie. In the Euro, we did not come to our entry, which could have been a confirmation style entry. Remember, getting in, waiting for it to start to go down, and then we want to confirm the move before we get in. Nor did we make it to our lower probability small time frame move. So, whole lot of nothing going on. As far as the Canadian, same tune, different channel on the Canadian as price has not come to any of our positions. Last four markets we'll take a look at very quickly. Nat gas, I really haven't been paying too much attention to. There's not been a lot happening. Same thing on the Great British Pound. We had this rising trend line in the Great British Pound, but that fell by the wayside. Remember, we don't make our decisions on trend lines alone. Trend lines can help to give me an idea, but it's not going to make my decision. I do have a little bit of a pinching here, though, in the Great British Pound that we could see a breakout out of that pinching level. Japanese yen, we had the short off of this area right here. That area has to be removed. We can't use that one again, simply because we got all the way into it and then moved down. Now there's really nothing on here that strikes me as a high probability area. I'd have to go further back. And I'd want to look further back, probably somewhere into this range in here. So it's a ways away from current price because here we're on the daily chart. And then copper, I don't really have anything set up in the copper markets, although I think we could get a little bit of a pullback just based on this overextended strong move higher. We have that overextended strong move higher. I think it wouldn't be unfounded to expect a little bit of a pullback. Matter of fact, if I throw on a quick Bollinger Band, see kind of what we're looking at. We've not still come back to reversion to the mean, but I do think that we're going to get a little bit of a reversion to the mean on copper as well. So that's what we have for today. If you have any questions, certainly do me a favor, shoot me an email, chuck@iiefinancial.com. Leave me a comment in the section below, and I will do my best to answer and to get back to you. So thank you so much for joining us today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks.